Welcome. In this video, can Zbcn coin enter the top 100 coins? We will analyze it. Don't forget to subscribe and like, and please watch to the end to understand. But first, let's analyze Zbcn. First of all, it is necessary to explain in detail what the downtrend structure in the market means, the psychological effects of this trend on investors, and why it is seen as a positive signal when the price breaks above this trend. A downtrend is formed when the price consistently makes lower highs and lower lows over a certain period of time. This usually indicates that sellers are dominant in the market, while buyers remain in the background. Most investors, thinking that the downtrend will continue, open sell positions or refrain from making new purchases. However, when the price breaks above this downtrend line, it signals that market psychology has started to change, with sellers losing strength while buyers step in. This breakout point is a very critical turning point in terms of technical analysis. Because after being under pressure for a long time, the price has a high potential to gain strong upward momentum once it breaks that pressure. Breaking above a downtrend is also an indication that a new story in the market has begun. Investors often pay close attention to trend breakouts because these breakouts are among the clearest signs of trend reversals. For example, the price may have been moving downward for a long time, and investors may have been continuously taking losses. This creates frustration among market participants. But at this very point, when the price breaks above the downtrend, a new wave of hope is created. With this hope, many investors who previously refrained from buying re-enter the market. As new buyers come in, rapid upward movement in prices can be seen, because one of the basic rules of technical analysis is this: a long-standing trend, once broken, tends to create strong moves in the opposite direction. Breaking above a downtrend also reveals the supply-demand balance in the market. During the downtrend, sellers are strong and every attempt at upward movement is suppressed by them. But at the breakout point, it becomes clear that buyers have become more dominant. At that point, sellers' strength is broken. Technically, these levels are often referred to as trend reversal points or breakout levels. Many investors start placing new buy orders at these levels. This increases the momentum of the price and accelerates the upward movement. Breaking above a downtrend produces not only a technical signal, but also a significant psychological signal, because the general perception of the market begins to change. Investors who previously acted with the thought that the price will fall begin to expect the price will rise after the breakout. This change in expectations is one of the most important factors that shifts the direction of the market. So the technical breakout is not just a graphical event, but also a strong psychological effect that changes investor behavior. Such breakouts are often supported by volume. That is, an increase in trading volume during the breakout above the downtrend is an indication that the breakout is valid and strong. If the price breaks above the trend with low volume, the sustainability of the move may be questioned. But if the volume increases strongly, it shows that buyers are truly entering the market and the rise will strengthen further. Breakouts supported by volume often lead to lasting trend reversals. Especially in cryptocurrency or stock markets, such breakouts are seen quite often. A long downtrend discourages investors and many leave the market. But at this point, major players step in and push the price above the trend. As a result, small investors also start re-entering the market. This cycle drives the price up quickly. So breaking a downtrend is not only a technical signal, but also one of the tactics used by major players to steer the market. Another important point is that a pullback movement usually occurs after the trend breakout. That is, after the price breaks the trend line, it may return once again to the broken trend line. This pullback is often the point where investors wait for confirmation. As long as the price does not fall below the broken trend line during this pullback, the upward move continues more strongly. That is why investors see post-breakout pullbacks as opportunities. Also, breaking above a downtrend carries stronger meaning on larger time frames. For example, a trend line broken on daily or weekly charts is much more powerful than one broken on hourly charts. Because trends on larger timeframes are followed by more investors and the effect of the breakout is more lasting. Therefore, investors should also take the time frame into consideration when evaluating trend breakouts. In light of all this, breaking above a downtrend is not just a simple chart event, but a strong signal that a new era in the market has begun. The signal gives confidence to investors, changes the market's direction, and often sets the stage for sharp upward moves. That is why it is very important for investors to closely follow such breakouts and take positions accordingly. Because when such a breakout occurs, the price can enter a strong upward wave powerful enough to recover all past declines. Especially when this breakout happens in an instrument that has long been under pressure, the upward potential of the price can become almost unlimited. But we cannot make decisions based on trends alone, so let's also take a look at the other metrics. Keep watching.
The concept of a bullish order block in technical analysis is one of the structures that investors have focused on heavily in recent years and is used in depth to understand price movements. A bullish order block is generally defined as a zone where large players or institutional buyers entered strongly in the past and pushed the price upward. When the price returns to such a zone, it indicates that the buying pressure that once existed there and still remains valid is reactivated. In other words, a bullish order block is seen as one of the most important areas that will determine the future direction of price. Especially when price rises for a while and then experiences pullbacks, these bullish order blocks attract price like a magnet. Because in these zones there were strong buyers in the past, and every time price returns to them, the same buying pressure can reappear. For this reason, if there is a bullish order block at the current price level, it is a scenario that investors must carefully follow. When price reaches a zone where a bullish order block is located, the psychology of market participants also often comes into play. If a strong rise has previously been seen from this level, investors consider it reliable and want to buy again at the same point. This situation can be explained in technical analysis as the tendency of the past to reflect the future. Because markets have a memory, and the zones where large players bought leave permanent marks. Therefore, whenever price returns to this bullish order block, it is expected that market makers will defend it again. This defense usually turns into a strong upward move, because the buyers who pushed price upward in the past, if they are still active, can once again push price higher from the same zone. That is why the presence of a bullish order block at the current price level is interpreted as a signal that could ignite a new rally. When price reaches this order block, the first touch is usually very important. A strong reaction on the first touch shows how determined the buyers in this zone are. If price bounces upward sharply, it indicates that the bullish order block is still valid. If the upward move is accompanied by an increase in volume, this is proof that institutional investors and large players are truly stepping in. Because such strong and high-volume moves cannot be created solely by small investors. On the contrary, bullish order blocks usually capture the moments when big buyers enter the system. This supports the idea that price will make a strong upward move from that level. That's why analysts do not see order blocks only as small boxes on a chart. They know there is serious buyer psychology and capital power behind them. To understand the strength of a bullish order block, some additional details are also important. For example, if price is returning to this zone after a long time, the question arises whether the buyers there are still active. However, most of the time, market makers like to leave a mark at certain levels, and when price returns to that level, the same reaction often occurs again. For them, these zones are long-term buying areas. Therefore, every time price touches this bullish order block, the probability of another upward move is quite high. Of course, it does not always work 100%, but a correctly identified bullish order block usually plays a critical role in determining price direction. Especially if the overall trend is upward and price has pulled back into a bullish order block, this scenario brings a much stronger possibility of a rise, because both the trend is upward and the bullish order block support is active. Now, let's make this scenario more concrete by assuming there is a bullish order block at the current price level. Suppose price has risen for a while, then made a correction, and during this correction, it reached the bullish order block. At that moment, many investors see a new buying opportunity, because the force that pushed price upward in the past can step in here again. Those who buy in this zone are not only small investors, large funds, institutions, and professional traders also put this level on their radar. When they step in, strong demand forms in the market, and this demand pushes price upward. This upward movement eventually triggers panic buying by the remaining investors who don't want to be left behind. Thus, the bullish order block not only holds price, but also lays the groundwork for a new rally. To better understand the effect of bullish order blocks, one must also look at how price approaches this zone. If price reaches it not with a sharp drop, but with a slow pullback, it is expected that buyers here will push price upward much more easily, because slow pullbacks are usually healthy corrections and are not backed by panic selling. In such a case, the bullish order block works much more strongly. When price comes to this zone, buyers step in and price turns upward strongly. Bullish order blocks play an important role not only in short-term trades but also in long-term trends. For example, if a cryptocurrency or stock is in a long-term uptrend, it occasionally makes corrections. During these corrections, price usually pulls back to bullish order blocks and finds support there before rising again. In this way, the uptrend continues solidly. For investors, these zones are excellent opportunities to evaluate new buying positions because the trend is upward, the correction has brought price down to attractive levels, and the bullish order block is ready to push price upward. When these three factors come together, the probability of a strong upward move is very high. In conclusion, the presence of a bullish order block at the current price level is one of the most important indicators of potential upcoming moves. Whenever price returns to this zone, large players step in and push price upward. As this repeats multiple times, investor confidence grows even more, and these zones become almost sacred points of the market. Many investors put these levels on their radar because buying from here usually offers high profit opportunities. When price reaches the bullish order block, it may appear to be just a correction, but in reality, it could be the beginning of a new uptrend. Therefore, bullish order blocks are one of the most important structures that investors must pay attention in order to predict future movements and take positions at the right time.
The rise of a cryptocurrency in market rankings, especially entering the top 100, creates a very strong impact on investor psychology because in the crypto world, the top 100 is almost like a prestigious club. The fact that Zbcn is currently ranked 139th with a market cap of $394 million actually places it in a position that is not far behind and potentially able to rise quickly. What's important here is to see the gap between its current position and the coin ranked 100th. As you mentioned, the 100th ranked coin's market cap is around $704 million, which shows that Zbcn would only need to roughly double in size to enter that list. Such growth is actually not an extreme scenario in the crypto market because, with market conditions, investor interest, exchange listings, media visibility, and overall market trends, a cryptocurrency can gain 2x, 3x, or even more value in a very short time. The key point here is whether Zbcn has the right catalysts to capture this momentum. Entering the top 100 is not just about a number or a list achievement. It makes the project appear more reliable, larger, and more established in the eyes of investors. Because many investors choose which coins to invest in based on rankings. Coins in the top 100 are perceived as the safer area of the market. The reason is that these coins have already reached a certain market size, generally have high trading volumes, and in most cases are listed on major exchanges. Therefore, Zbcn doubling and joining this list would not only attract new investor interest, but also draw the attention of large funds, institutional investors, and individual investors diversifying their portfolios. Many funds and investors prefer to invest only in coins within the top 100. For Zbcn to double its market cap, either current investors need to buy more, or new investors need to flood into the project. This usually happens through news flow, announcements, new exchange listings, project developments, partnerships, and community growth. For example, if Zbcn gets listed on a major exchange soon, this will automatically increase its trading volume and attract new investors. Likewise, being talked about more on social media and within communities can create a viral effect and push the price up quickly. Psychology plays a big role here because most investors want to buy more when they see the price rising, creating a chain reaction of upward momentum. One of the biggest advantages of Zbcn entering the top 100 by doubling is the increase in visibility. Platforms like CoinMarketCap and CoinGecko often highlight the top 100 coins, and every project that enters this list automatically becomes more visible. Since people trust projects within the top 100 more, Zbcn's buying pressure can rise much faster. This means that even after surpassing a $704 million market cap, the price may continue to rise because entering the list itself creates a catalyst. In other words, a 2x increase would not only push Zbcn into the top 100, but also, thanks to its new position, attract even more investors and possibly carry it to 3x or 4x levels. Investors usually think like this: if this coin made it into the top 100, it must be getting serious interest and has real strength behind it. I better buy before I miss out. This wave of thinking spreads quickly, especially through social media. When this starts being discussed in communities like Twitter, Telegram, and Reddit, the coin can suddenly trend and its price can rise even more. At this point, what matters is that Zbcn has a solid project foundation, because while investors may buy in the short term due to hype, in the long term the strength of the project determines whether the price is sustainable. If Zbcn is not just a speculation tool, but has strong technology, an active community, and a vision, then after entering the top 100, it also has a higher chance of staying there permanently. Zbcn entering the top 100 would not only attract individual investors, but also increase its presence in the media. Crypto news outlets often create content such as new coins entering the top 100, and such news brings new investors to the project. In addition, major analysts start analyzing these projects. This way, the project becomes recognized by more people and appeals to a wider investor base. At this stage, the second wave of investor interest driven by visibility also supports the price. Furthermore, since doubling its market cap is considered an achievable goal by many investors, even approaching this target can push the price upwards, because investors think it's close, it will soon enter the top 100. This expectation alone increases buying pressure. In fact, sometimes the price rises even before a coin enters the top 100 because people want to buy before it gets in. This is another advantage for Zbcn. If the community embraces this goal and campaigns like On the Road to the Top 100 are launched on social media, this can lead to more people becoming interested in the project. Entering the top 100 also serves as a major motivation for the project team. The team can establish stronger partnerships, announce new collaborations, and take steps that will support the project's long-term success. Many institutions and companies also consider market ranking when deciding which projects to collaborate with. A project in the top 100 is more easily accepted in institutional partnerships. At this point, Zbcn would not only gain price appreciation, but also a strategic advantage. In conclusion, Zbcn rising from its current $394 million market cap to $704 million with a 2x increase would not only push it into the top 100, but also, thanks to the increased visibility, trust, investor interest, and media support, could drive its price even higher. The symbolic power of entering the top 100 will enable the coin to be adopted by a broader investor base, increasing buying pressure and potentially turning into a chain reaction of growth. A 2x increase would serve as the initial catalyst, but afterwards, this growth could feed itself and lead to a much larger rise.
Yes, friends, I hope you liked the video. If you subscribe to my channel and like the video, more videos will be coming. Be careful in your investments, analyze the risks correctly, and always take strategic steps. I will be with you with different analyses, investment opportunities, and technical information in my videos. I wish you all a lot of profit. See you soon.